Good evening and welcome to another episode of the Coast to Coast podcast. No Eric this week. He is out. Just me and Phil, but we got a
Practicing
good
his
show
bat
for you.
flips.
Practicing his bat flips. Here we go. Thinks the earth is flat. So it never sat well with me.
Do you want a company that refuses to use your call box? Or
have to be patient. I don't understand why Chelsea gave him tax so quickly.
You want to know who took cheap shots, Greg? Christian Laettner. You want to know who everybody talks about? Christian Laettner. You want to know who was one of the best basketball players ever in college? Christian Laettner.
Oh man, I'm like trying not to laugh already just because of what we were talking about right before this. First thing we wanted to discuss is season 2 of Ted Lasso, which led you to suggest the title of this show, Rickrolled, which then right before you spoke to me like this was the most common phrase in the world, and I made what I assume is the mistake of admitting I've never heard the phrase before. So do you want to explain where this comes from? I'm like, am I going to sound like an idiot because I've never heard this before?
This is amazing. So so I'm getting on. I'm like, this is
amazing.
Rickroll.
Yeah. What the hell did I've never heard that in my life.
Okay, Greg, where have you been the last? How long has this been a thing? I think it's been a thing for 13 years, maybe.
I don't know where
I think
it comes from.
15 years.
Who's Rick? Rickroll. I don't get it. I still don't get it.
Wow.
I can't be the only person that's never heard
No,
this.
you are. You are. The only person that's listening to this has never heard the term Rickrolled and has no idea what it is. You watched the last episode of Ted Lasso, right? So for those wondering, we'll try to moderate the spoilers, but in it, a big theme.
This thing's been out for a week. Go watch the last episode if you haven't watched it.
It came out Friday, I think.
Yeah, that was 4 days ago, whatever.
Okay, so but basically the whole episode revolves around Rick Ashley a little bit, and like the concept of being Rickrolled a little bit. And so that's what I wanted the episode to be of. We could talk about some NFL teams that we feel have Rickrolled us. And Greg just opens up like, I have no idea what this means. And I can't believe that I am explaining this to you. You know the video, right? The song Never Gonna Give You Up?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it's by Rick Ashley.
Give you up.
Yeah. So this is I don't know. Oh, okay. So
you told me not to Google it too. So
I did. Yeah, Greg was going to Google this. Like you've never been Rickrolled before, is what you're telling me.
No,
and what being Rickrolled means is when someone sends you a link and you think you're getting like, it's like, check out this picture of like my dog, and then you click the like, and then the song comes on and he's dancing and the music comes on. That's being Rickrolled. And what also happened, like, was people would stadiums would be like, what's the last song that you want us to play before we tear it down? And like people would Rickroll the stadiums, and like the internet would vote that the last song would be Never Gonna Give You Up. So it's been this huge thing over the past, I think 14, 15 years of people getting Rickrolled.
I've never heard of it.
And so, so people will send videos or links and the video will start and it's like something, and then it cuts to Rick Ashley's like, doo, doo.
I don't think like, I think that practice is coming. I don't think the specific term, like I've honestly never heard of it. I've never heard.
That's amazing. Go talk.
Rickroll.
Yeah. Ask anyone if they know what being Rickrolled means. And I think you're going to find that
put out a straw poll. Does anyone know what Rickrolled means?
The internet.
I should have asked my team tonight.
The internet is just swarmed with people getting Rickrolled. So like it's actually been overdone over the last while. So like it was weird to watch the episode. I'm like, okay, this was in its prime like 10 years ago, and we're just like Rickrolling the audience at this point. And then they Rickroll at the end. The last part where they're watching the video and it's her childhood, and then it cuts to the video. That's a perfect example of being Rickrolled. And where you're getting one thing, and then all of a sudden it shoots to Rick Ashley doing his dance, and everyone just has a good laugh.
So like, I missed like a lot of the humor in the last episode.
Yeah, the entire humor of them singing that
just went straight over my head.
Is just absolutely absurd. Like I'm just like laughing. Like this is ridiculous. Like this TV show is just Rickrolling their audience the whole time. And Greg's over there being like, "Oh yeah, this is a pretty good song, huh?"
I'm gonna have to explain this to Lauren now.
Lauren doesn't know what being Rickrolled is?
I mean, maybe she does. I don't know. But the whole episode kind of, I feel like I missed the point of the entire episode, which apparently was to, I want to make sure I'm using this right, Rickroll us, the audience.
I don't know if that was the entire point, but that's how I felt. I was like, oh, this is just, they're Rickrolling, especially at the end. It's like blatantly obvious with her childhood video, and then it cuts to it. Like that is just being rickrolled. So I think the show writers had fun with that. And this is amazing. I don't think I've ever met a grown up like you're the demographic for this happening. This is amazing. So hey, if you're someone that doesn't know what being rickrolled means and you're in like the minority here with Greg, send us a tweet. I don't know what our Twitter is. Greg does.
Keegan
send
does.
something.
Our
Keegan
producer.
does. Send us an
I wonder if
email,
Keegan
something.
knows what
We have
rickrolled
to know
means.
if there's more. Keegan knows. Yeah.
How do you know? You put it in the group chat and no one said anything.
Yeah, because it's common knowledge. This is like part of Greg. It's at this point, it's part of the collective consciousness of like just you people know this.
Is it possible you're aging yourself?
No, it's not.
Definitive no.
Check-
Definitive no.
No. People were still rickrolling stadiums and other things like for the past 10. It's been going strong. This is insane. I don't know how you missed this.
I missed it. Have you liked season 2? Honestly.
Okay, so let's start. Let's dive into Ted Lasso, which season 1 is an all-timer.
Season 1 was incredible, and I give you full credit. I was leaving Seattle, West Coast, and right before I got on the plane, you said, watch this show. And before I had landed out here in the great north of Wisconsin, I'd watched the entire first season. So
it's great.
One of the best ever. Loved it all.
Season 2, I think 3 episodes ago, a lot of things go down. You know, Jamie confronts his dad. Ted talks to the therapist. The therapist has something. And after that episode, I kind of turned and I go, as far as Ted Lasso's standards go, that was the worst episode of the series.
What about the episode that was strictly devoted to Coach
Hang on. Then the next week, we got that episode.
That reminded me of that episode in Stranger Things where they just like, here's the plot line. We're going to do this one episode that has nothing to do with anything else that we've spent a season and a half going over.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I didn't even know if it was real. Like, and it was kind of like absurd as well.
Yeah.
Everything that was going on.
The Stranger Things thing was like, it was a deliberate thing of like, hey, can we create a spin-off series off of this? And we're going to dedicate an episode to see if we can. And it was just, it felt wrong. The Beard episode also, like, I like Beard, but like, the whole premise of the episode was things that have been done 1,000 times before, but much better. And like, I don't think there's any real characters in that show that I can spend 40 minutes with. Like, I like all the characters in the show. That's what makes it so great. But they work in moderation, and I don't know what that was. And I had a couple things with season 1. It has this definitive arc, right? Of person wants to destroy the club, hires this coach, and you know what you're going in through from the beginning to the end. Season 2 has none of that. And
I don't even know what the storyline is. Like, what are we building up for right now in season 2? I don't feel like I'm watching the same show.
Yeah, it feels like a different show. And here's what I thought at first, because this is the confusing thing. I thought that they, you know, the success of it, they became like, oh, this is a show that can last as long as we want it to. So we're just going to turn it into a normal sitcom.
Sweet.
And that's what it felt like. And I was like, I can live with that. I won't like it as much, but it's still like the quality is, I'm trusting on the quality of the writers. But then I heard, and I don't know how accurate this is, that it's only planning on being 3 seasons.
So what are we doing in season 2?
Yeah, because they're like, you know, the story.
Where are we in the standings right now? Are we fighting for promotion? Are we about to get relegated again? What's going on?
I don't know. Yeah, and that's what actually, my wife said. She's like, you know, I could use more soccer this season. There hardly any of it.
Things Americans never say like this. Like, and that's what we want right now. Is
Ted
more
Lasso's
soccer.
got Americans saying like, we need more soccer, and everyone across the pond's like, it's football. It's football. But yeah, I still like the show. The last 3 episodes have been disappointing. This season, it's just not on par. I still enjoy it. I still have a fun time watching it. I still look forward to it.
If you had to rank the last 3, the disappointment in the last 3 episodes, do you think that ranks worse or not worse than how Chicago Bears fans feel about Fields' first start?
Oh, not worse than that. Not worse than that.
Not worse than that?
Yeah. Did you ever watch Sports Night?
Oh, with the dude who then became super political. I can't think of his name.
Aaron Sorkin wrote it. I can't remember.
No, I didn't watch that.
But if you watch something else, Sports Night, it's the season 1, great first season. Yep. Aaron Sorkin writing, always great. You get into season 2, you get to this point too, and it's kind of coincidental. They bring in a therapist, and the show just takes this weird turn, and it's no longer the show that you fell in love with. And you still watch it, but that's where I feel like Ted Lasso is heading. I hope there's course correction. I hope they get back to what really worked. The episode that I was mentioning before, the beard episode, it felt like, I don't watch Grey's Anatomy, but I imagine that's what watching a Grey's Anatomy episode feels like. It just felt like way too much melodrama put in. I didn't like how they handled the therapist role and that storyline. It got sloppy. And
I feel like they're conquering some some stuff that could be interesting, but to your point, like I'm still like invested, like how Ted Lasso's handling all this stuff, and maybe it's because we also know what Jason Sudeikis went through with his ex-wife, or what they went through, I should say. So it is kind of interesting, like seeing him act out some of this stuff that I imagine actually hits like seriously home with him as a actual person and not just a character.
Especially in season 1,
But
where he's in real life going through a divorce, and then absolutely.
So like I'm genuinely interested in like the emotion, that this heartstrings that they're trying to pull on, but it's like there's just no overall story for me, and I'm like, what am I watching? Like if I'll turn on Days of Our Lives at 2 p.m. if I want to just watch this stuff. Like I want a did I just say the soap opera from Friends? I think I did. But anyways,
no, I think that's a real one. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, I want
Dr. Draco Mori might be in it. I'm not sure.
I want Richmond. I want to know what's going on. Like I don't know. I was gonna buy a Richmond jersey, and now I'm like, I don't even know. Like, is this a soccer show anymore? I don't know.
This is what happens with the success of TV shows, because a lot of them, when they're created, so much time goes into creating the first season, to sell it.
Yep.
And then they sell it, and it gets made, but then you have to turn around right away and make a second season. And you don't have that time and preparation that you did that goes.
That's what happened to True Detective. They rushed out second season on HBO, and it was just disaster.
I think it's what happened with Westworld too. Westworld is, again, a perfect example of another all-timer, great number one first season, goes up there with the great first seasons of all time. And the second season is like, we stopped watching it. We just like, after the end, we're like, we didn't want to watch season 3. We're like, we don't like this at all. What happened to the show that we really liked? And it's just unfortunate when that happens. And it's usually easier to do, like with comedy, just keep it funny, keep it light. Like, I don't know.
Ted Lasso is not a comedy anymore, I don't think. I mean, unless you talk about rickrolling your entire audience, like then it's a comedy. But
yeah, I can't believe the last scene and that's going on, and you're just like, yeah, this is a good song. Yeah, this is.
I was not saying this is a good song.
Really, yeah.
But in season 1, like the whole Ted Lasso character is built off of a character in a NBC promotion that's like 10 years ago. Like it's supposed to be
when people were getting rickrolled.
Funny. Yeah, totally. Well, I think we're on the same page with Ted Lasso season 2. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we'll see a soccer ball in one of the next two. Like I don't know.
Hey, anyone that's Greg's friend that's listening to this that has his contact, please in the next week just send him something to have him click it and just rickroll him. Just unsuspectingly send him links. Tell him like he's got to read this. Check it out. And we need to rickroll Greg more. So I just want our audience to do their best in rickrolling Greg. That'd be wonderful.
All right. You said you got this week's rapid fire. Am I correct?
Oh yeah. Are we gonna start with that, or do we want to actually? Can we go into the rickroll first of like teams that we expected?
Oh, yeah.
So now that I can explain rickrolling to you, I want to explain the segment. Now that you know what it means, it's like you think you're getting something, but then what you're getting is completely different. Right? I'm getting almost like someone's playing a joke on you. What are the teams that are playing a joke on you?
The Minnesota Timberwolves. I've been a Timberwolves fan like my entire life. Wait, whoa.
I meant more in like the NFL sense, a season that's going on and happening right now. Like teams at the beginning
of
the year.
I'm out here in the Midwest. I'm going to say my Minnesota Timberwolves part. All right, I'm going to say it anyways.
I'll give you your Timberwolves.
I fell in love with this franchise as a little kid when I was obsessed with Wolves. That's how it led me to Kevin Garnett, Stephon Marbury briefly, Tom Gugliotta, and I'm naming all these names from like the late 90s and early 2000s.
Sam Cassell.
Yeah. And 17 one playoff appearance in the last 17 years, like, and every time like I said, we got Karl Anthony Towns, we just traded for the lefty point guard shooting guard that I can't even think of his name all of a sudden. D'Angelo Russell, I don't remember. It's just constant terribleness. And we just fired our president because he was having an affair in public. How stupid are you, by the way, to have an affair at a stadium like that? Like, what a joke. Just a
bold
joke
strategy
of an organization right now. At this point, head to Seattle. I don't know. It's just I don't think it's ever going to get any better out here.
Okay. I was thinking. Well, I was wondering if the Patriots are rickrolling us.
I knew that's where you're going to go, so that's why I didn't say it.
It's they're 1-2. They got all their defensive players back, which I thought their defense would be strong. And Jameis Winston, just after scoring like 0 points the week before or whatever, just lights us up.
Yep.
And we get Mac Jones. And also we get Mac Jones. Like, we cut Cam Newton. It's just like, oh, we must really see something. And Mac Jones has been playing, I guess, fine. But like, you picked him over 11 wins or at 11 wins. And it just doesn't look great. I mean, also, I feel like the Seahawks are doing the same thing. So these other teams that are close to, I have high expectations for. And then they blow a massive lead to the Titans. They lose to the Vikings. We don't even have Dalvin Cook.
Yep.
And it's like, this is not what I expected. Is this a joke? Is there a punchline coming? Is this really what's happening? And so those are teams that I think of. Actually, on the flip side of that too, I feel like the Raiders are rickrolling because they're supposed to be a joke. Like, their coach and their team, like,
so much rickrolling.
They're 3-0. Yeah, great use of the term, Greg. And
just practicing.
Yeah, so I just feel like that's going on.
I feel like the Patriots tight ends are rickrolling us right now. We must be paying them like $1 million per catch at this rate. Like, those were the big signings. Like, oh, we're gonna get this offense back, and we're gonna have tight ends that can catch passes now. And I just don't really remember anything that they've done. I have no idea if it's the quarterback, them, play calling, whatever. But it's just like there was a lot of excitement, and these first 3 games have been really underwhelming. And even they win against the Jets, like that, for winning by, I don't know if we ended up winning by 20 or something. That was about as kind of weak of a blowout as you could get, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because everyone's going to blow out the Jets, or everyone should. If you don't blow out the Jets this year, like, what are you doing?
Jets are looking like the Jets.
Jets and Jets. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, what do you think of Mac Jones so far?
I haven't watched a lot of tape, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
been busy.
I wanted them to keep Cam Newton, so not that everyone knows that Mac Jones is going to be the future, but I'm nervous, and if it goes bad next week against Tampa, there's going to be Bill Belichick's going to be catching a lot of heat and asking a lot of questions that he will undoubtedly ignore or come up with.
I mean, he's already getting those questions, and how much of a chance do you give them to beat Tampa?
I mean, Belichick knows Brady. I think any game, Patriots always have a chance to win. I say what you want. I don't care. Their coaching staff is good. They've got a strong culture. I think you always have to give them a chance. They were terrible last year, and they finished 7-9. And there was 4 games that very easily could have gone their way. So I give them a solid chance. I mean, Tampa just let up 30 points this past week.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I give the Patriots a strong chance.
Looking good.
You know, Belichick's going to want to win right now too. Like, he's obviously always wants to win, but
you also know that if the Bucs are winning, they're going to want to run the scoreboard up.
Yep.
So that could also hurt.
I mean, if there's anyone that knows how to beat Tom Brady, it's Bill Belichick.
What if there's anyone that knows how to beat Belichick? Oh gosh, that's true. But maybe if there's anyone that knows, we're going to find out, because maybe it's Brady that knows how to beat Belichick.
I'm really excited for this week regardless. I just hope the Patriots offense shows up, because they did not show up last week.
Okay. Are you ready for rapid fire then?
I'm ready.
All right. So there's a lot of questions here. They're all the same though. So you don't have to change your thoughts too much.
Is it yes or no?
It's over or under.
Oh God.
So rapid fire, over under 10 wins. And I'm just going to name some teams, and you just have to first reaction.
Yep.
Ready?
Yep.
Bills.
Over.
Patriots.
Over.
Ravens.
Under.
Browns.
Under.
Steelers.
Under.
Titans.
Over.
Raiders.
Over.
Broncos.
Under.
Chargers.
Shit. Under.
Cowboys.
Under.
Packers.
Under. Just because I wanted.
You couldn't resist. Bears.
Under.
Bucks.
Over.
Panthers.
Under.
Rams.
Oh man, even.
Cardinals.
Under. Over.
Niners.
There's a ton of teams here.
Yeah, Niners.
Under.
Seahawks.
Under.
Okay. So some of the strongest divisions of the Rams, Cardinals, Niners, Seahawks, you only picked one team to go over.
I didn't know these were coming. I didn't have a chance to.
Okay. Of the whole, like, basically the division, the Ravens, Browns, and Steelers, you picked them all to go under.
Yeah, I don't like them. But obviously, I can't. Obviously, I'm going to get some wrong there, but I don't have any confidence in. I mean, I guess the Ravens.
The Broncos, who are 3-0, to go under.
I really like Lamar Jackson, so I probably should have said over with them. I don't know. Just how many games are you going to win by just barely like this with? So I don't know. I don't like the Broncos. Sorry.
Just sees how you stand on a lot of these teams. I mean, there's a lot of unders there.
Yeah.
I don't know what teams. I mean, with an extra game, I feel like a lot of teams, they make it in the playoffs, you're going to have around 10 wins, and you're just like, nope.
I would have liked to have done that again after knowing the questions were coming. but then again, that
defeats the purpose of rapid fire. We got your honest responses, and I like how you picked the Patriots to go over, but the Ravens, Steelers.
I was picking with my heart. I was picking with my heart. Just going with it was like wishful thinking at that point.
Wow, I'm just.
Yeah. All right. I think we mentioned the Ravens. Obviously, did you get a chance to watch this kick live?
Not live, but I did watch it.
I did watch obviously, we're talking about Justin Tucker's game.
Save my survivor pool.
Yeah, that was insane, and I love the irony that I think it was probably like an hour before Justin Tucker broke the record for longest field goal in NFL history. The previous record holder, Matt Prater, had actually tried to break his own record. He attempted a 68-yard field goal in the Cardinals-Jaguars game. I think I'm getting that right. And his attempt came up short, and it was returned for a touchdown the other way. So, yeah, tough day for Matt Prater as he kicks a field goal that gets turned for a touchdown, and then an hour later sees his record get broken. So I kind of feel for you. But Justin Tucker's kick, I mean, to break the record in a clutch situation like that, insane. It's not like it was tied. It was, if you don't break the NFL record, we lose the game.
Not only lose, we lose to the Lions.
Yeah, even worse. But looking at that kick, you have to, I was watching it. I was like, the Ravens had no timeouts. They had the ball on their own 16-yard line, and there was, I think, 27 seconds left. And Detroit decided to drop and cover a million and only rush 3. And, of course, they let up a 34-yard passing play. Again, the Ravens had no timeouts. Like, if you're a coach, I would bring pressure. It was 4th and 19. 4th and 19. And even if they do get the first down, like, okay, they gain 20 yards, they're still at their own, let me make sure my math's right, they're still at their own 36. If you're at your own 36, you're looking at a 14, 50, 64. You're looking at a 81-yard field goal. Obviously not physically possible. Like, the only way you lose that game is if you let up a 35-yard play like they did.
Hey, or the only way you lose the first pick in the draft is if you don't let up that play. That coaching staff, they got their orders. They need that.
I'm not saying you call like a zero blitz, like I think it was the Jets did last year. I forget who they were playing.
I think you go full or what's that movie? Titans. We are the Titans. We blitz every play. Like
you got to bring some pressure. Like, it's all you got to do is just not let up 30 yards. Like, just bring some pressure so they don't have. It takes a long time for a play like that to develop. And if you just rush 3, if 5 guys get to run around the field for as long as you want, eventually one of them's going to get open. Have you ever played like 3v3 football in the backyard?
Yeah,
when the quarterback can just sit back there as long as they want. Like, eventually the receiver always gets open.
Yeah.
So why is that principle not applied at the highest level? Like, all these people grew up playing in their backyard and stuff, playing things. Like, if you let 5 guys just run around, they're going to get the ball eventually.
Yeah. I
So
don't know what I want you to. The Lions are terrible. I mean, didn't the Jets do this last
this
year?
is the
They were
coach
the
that
Jets.
talked about kicking people in the mouth and like we're gonna bite and claw and all that stuff. Gave like the most goofy press conference I've ever seen, and then he drops and gets wicked conservative right when they need him to actually to just have an ounce of aggression.
Yeah. When's he losing his job?
I don't know.
Before or after Matt Nagy?
Matt Nagy's losing his job first. You kidding me? They had a net of 1 passing yard for the game. 68
but
passing
again,
yards,
I think that
67
actually,
yards against with sacks.
I think that's what saves his job.
Is Matt Nagy just chilling?
No, like Matt Nagy in the sense like right, what
See the standard?
What's Patricia's like argument? He's like, he had Matthew Stafford, he couldn't win. He gets Jared Goff. He like, this franchise was in the playoffs. Matt Nagy helped at least get the Bears to the playoffs, create this team. Now he's working with Andy Dalton and Justin Fields, right? And he's like, look,
And Nick Foles.
Nick Foles.
He said today he has no idea who's starting.
So again, like he's just like, he can play the card of like, well, look what I'm working with. How can I win when Justin Fields is doing
Matt Nagy
that?
can't play that card though, because this is it's year 4 for him. He's supposed to build. This is year
exactly.
4.
Yeah, Matt Nagy.
And it's going downhill. His first year, he was up for Coach of the Year.
Is he like, because like,
head coaches in the NFL have a lot of say in what goes on.
This is why I'm saying this works in his favor, right? Because he can say, like, I finally got a quarterback. We finally drafted a quarterback, and he obviously needs to be developed. Like that's the path to keep your job longer. I'm not saying he should. Don't hear what I'm not saying.
4.
Hey, don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm just saying that's like, if you're a coach and you're trying to like build buy time, because that's what you're trying to do. You pin it on. You're like, look at my QB woes. Never had a good QB. Like that's what they're going to do in Denver. That's what they're going to do like at a lot of places where you get extra time.
When they went 12-4, was it?
Who was?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Mitch Trubisky.
Oh, it was Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, that was his first year, and then they've been 8-8 since, and they limped into the playoffs one year at 8-8 as well. But man, like that was literally, this is not hyperbole. That was a historically bad performance the other day.
Yeah.
47 yards total in offense.
But is that Justin Fields or is that Matt Nagy's fault?
I don't know. It wasn't a whole lot better before then. Yeah. I don't know.
I'm saying that like if he's to make a case to keep his job, that's it. And I think some people buy into that.
If they want Fields to be the quarterback of the future, though, then you have to look at the head coach. If that's like, you can't be trotting that kind of performance out for an opener. So that ultimately falls on him as well. And by opener, I mean his first start.
We'll see.
Like,
I mean, we all thought Adam Gase should have been fired before the season started, and he lasted the whole year.
Yeah, well, he served his purpose. They got a high draft pick.
Well, maybe Chicago wants a high draft pick. I don't know. Maybe they're like, oh, we got to change plans. And maybe that's what they want in Detroit. They're like, we got to keep Matt Patricia. If he can blow that game, getting a new quarterback.
Oh, man. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. All right, last segment here. Only got 3 questions for you. Would you rather? One of them's kind of basic, but last week I think the best question was, what was it? Would you rather sit in a philosophy class taught by Kyrie Irving or Kanye West? Who'd you go with on that?
I picked Kyrie, and then I backed up. What was the text I sent you? Did you get that link?
Oh, I did.
The screenshot.
Yeah. All right. Question number 1. This is kind of a layup and not really.
Yeah, that's what you said last time, and then me and Eric disagreed with you and picked the right person.
All right. So this is in the realm of prima donna wide receivers, and last year we talked in depth about one of these guys on our show. We haven't. Man. The other one's kind of irrelevant now, but we'll bring him back to relevant. I hope you remember some of his antics. Would you rather spend 1 week with Antonio Brown or Terrell Owens?
Terrell Owens, for sure.
Really? I feel like Antonio Brown would be super entertaining and very dangerous as well, but
very dangerous. Well, I don't believe from my records that Terrell Owens has committed sexual assault and things like that nature or domestic abuse.
That's
so, I'm not going to, if I'm choosing someone to ride with.
You could be protecting other people if you were around Antonio Brown. You could be like, hey, that's not, maybe you could work at education with him. You're sticking with Terrell Owens.
I'm sticking with Terrell Owens.
Okay. Would you rather rely on Carson Wentz for an entire season or Paul George for a playoff run? We talked about Paul George a lot last year too, and obviously we
Uh,
talked about Carson Wentz last.
Paul George played well through the last playoff series. Like he had some really good games. He wasn't lighting it up every night, but he had some games where without Kawhi, like the Clippers made it a lot farther than anyone thought they would.
Yeah,
And not battling depression through the COVID bubble. Maybe that's a little bit different. He had some good runs in Indiana where we thought he was the third best player in the league, at times. So before that gruesome injury as well.
Yep.
So I would take, like trying to trust Carson Wentz for like a whole season. Like what? Absolutely not. Like, look, even when he's on the field, they're 0-3. So what am I going to get if he's healthy? No, absolutely not.
Okay. Final question. And there's a little bit of fictitious elements in this last question.
Yeah.
You've ordered an engagement ring and it has to be shipped to you. Would you rather have
Is this a personal experience? Like,
would you, no, it's not. Would you rather have to have the engagement ring shipped to you by your favorite company, UPS,
okay.
and it has to be there by a certain time?
Mhm.
Or would you rather Kyrie Irving teach your son's third grade class?
Can I get a carrier pigeon to deliver it? Can I choose carrier pigeon?
Got to choose one or the other.
Well, I don't have a kid, so is he teaching my dog?
Fictitious son.
Fictitious son. How expensive is this ring?
Extremely expensive.
Extremely expensive.
Kyrie Irving.
So I'm supporting like the blood diamond trade at this. Is it like
yes, really?
Hang on, where does this diamond come from?
Lab created.
Okay, but then I'm like still pumping money into the diamond business. I don't know how I feel about that.
Good like lab created stuff now.
Yeah, but still like the diamond business.
I'm gonna fit Kyrie Irving into one of these every single week. By the way,
guess So my kid's just homeschooled, and just Kyrie's just like teaching him stuff.
Third grade for a full year. Earth's flat. You're gonna have to do a lot of teaching at midnight hours when he comes home from school.
Oh, and I have to make sure he gets the homework done.
Oh God, I wonder what that homework would look like in that class.
Man, I'm kind of interested in the Kyrie aspect as a social experiment. You think of having kids, you're like, man, I can really just mess with them and tell them like
third grade.
Third grade, just like, yeah,
you're gonna let Kyrie Irving teach your kid an entire year of third grade.
Well, because hopefully by third grade, my kid has more common sense than like some of the stuff that Kyrie believes, and he can just challenge him on everything. And I think that's too a valuable thing of like, hey, to question authority and the things. Yeah, you can teach a lot of kids at second grade that dinosaurs existed. Like they should know that by then, and fossils and things like that. I could imagine Kyrie being like, and there weren't dinosaurs. And be like, but what about the fossils? And then
I remember
because then I get to watch, right? I get to watch Kyrie try to explain to a third grader like how the fossils aren't real, because I'm really interested again, and I need to know how he believes these things. So I would go with that, because I would just be like, kid, tell me everything you learned. I need to know. And just we'd have a good laugh. So yeah.
Good answer. Good answer. All right, that's our show. Thanks for listening. As usual, we're on all major podcasts. Anywhere you can get a podcast, you can get our show, and we record live Mondays, 10 o'clock Eastern time, 7 o'clock West Coast time. All right. Thanks
everybody Rickroll Greg. Everybody.
Don't get Rickrolled.
Coast to Coast podcast is hosted by Greg Gilmore, that's me, Phil Marino. The show is produced and roughly edited by yours truly. Feedback, you can always reach us via email at talkcoasttocoastpodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's talkcoasttocoastpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.